So thank you for joining us. My guest today is a journalist, nurse, talk show host, and more. She's currently the head of the St. Clair College Journalism and Media Convergence programs, and she is Veronique Mandal. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Zach.
So I guess the first question, you've had so many jobs, like I said, from nurse to playwright to journalist. Why so many jobs, and did you love working that much?
Well, I could never make up my mind what I really wanted to do. And so when I was a little girl, I made a list of all the things that I wanted to be when I grew up. And I started ticking off the list. And so I think I'm on about job 8. So, and I mean, sometimes you sort of wonder, when I was working in the theater in England, I had so many friends. And when I left that, I left all those friends behind and moved on. And I went to nursing. And then I loved the theater. And then I thought I'd never leave it. And then I went to nursing and I thought I'd never leave that. And then I went to do radio drama and I thought I'd never leave that. And then I went to work on the continent and doing tour guiding and things like that. And I thought, wow, I think this is what I want to do. And then I went back to nursing and thought, okay, yeah, really, this is what I want to do. But then I went to do radio and thought I'd really found it. And then I decided to go to television and thought, oh my goodness, this is it. Then I went to work in the newspaper business and thought, this is it. And then I ended up, running a journalism program, a journalism school, really, at the Mediaplex.
So is there something on that list or something you have not done that you really want to do?
Yes. Now, I've also written musicals, which is something I wanted to do. And I've written books. One became a bestseller, which was really great. So that I've done. The one thing that I want to do is movies. And I've done documentaries, but I've not done movies. And that's really what I want to do next.
So like what kind of movies? Do you have a specific genre or?
No, but I would like to take the musical that I wrote because it's all based in Newfoundland. And I'd like to go home to Newfoundland and make the movie there of the book, of the play.
Wow.
That's where I'd like to start anyway. And then I really am interested to see if the book that I wrote, the biography of the lawyer Don Tate, I've had interest from people in one person in Hollywood, and so I will sort of go somewhere, but I would really like to be involved in it, since that's the next thing on my list.
So when you look at journalism today, what do you think the biggest problem with journalism is in today's world?
They're biased. They've all decided that they are coming down on one political side. And I could weep when I listen to so many news stories and they present them as though they're fair and balanced, and they're anything but if you start to really pay attention. And one of the things, that journalistic ethic of being fair and balanced, not biased, not taking political sides. And as you know, I've always said to my students, I really don't care where you make your mark in the ballot box. That's your conscience. And the one thing that really does concern me is the bias that I see in on television, or I listen to on the radio, or that I read in the newspapers. And I think that it's really tragic. I listen to people talking about why the public doesn't trust us anymore. And so they say that, I heard this one fellow a few weeks ago talking about, we have to earn back the trust, etc. Then he started slamming any of the conservative media. There are not many of them, but those that are there, he was slamming them. So it was really clear that his idea of fair and balanced is to be anything that's not conservative, which is why people don't trust us, because all they see is bias. So, Zach, I'm really concerned about our future because we alienate people all the time when we behave like.
So do you think there could be a part of the program or part of a specific course on kind of how to, counteract the hate that people spew at us, or is that on our own judgment?
The only way that we can earn back trust is to be truly fair and balanced. You don't only go and get one side of an issue, or you don't slant it so that the side you support sound like the good guys and the side you don't support sound like the bad guys. The public is not going to work at trusting us, and they shouldn't have to, because we should really be the stewards of information for the public. And the only way that's we're ever going to be trusted again is when they truly see a clear, fair, and balanced reporting from us. It's the only way we're going to save ourselves.
I know it is like what I've seen. It's basically, I'm not surprised that it's all coming back one-sided, because I've seen so many of that on both sides of the border.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the other thing that has started is reporters who clearly should be fair and balanced. They go on social media and slam a political side, and then they expect that the public is going to trust anything they write or report. Who's going to trust that? So, I mean, we're the authors of our own misfortune, really. And it's clear when I see reporters who are coming down on one political side, it's clear they don't care if the public doesn't trust them or doesn't think they're fair and balanced, because you wouldn't be doing that. It's one thing for columnists to have their opinion and put it out there, no matter what political side they support, and that's their job. It is not the reporter's job to be doing that.
Yeah, last time I checked, there were two sides to every story.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not
sometimes three.
It's not one-sided story. Yeah, the world of news is kind of a jumbled area at the current moment. That's why I'm here.
And I'm really glad you are. That's really great.
Yeah, so you're currently the program coordinator of Journalism and Media Convergence, and you're also going to be having your hand in public relations as well. So can you give us the background of how you joined the journalism program?
Well, I had no intention really of leaving the newspaper world at the time. And, but I had just finished a very long 6 months working on a very intense and emotionally charged series on schizophrenia. And I didn't realize how much it took out of me doing that, because I immersed myself in the lives of people with schizophrenia, their families, the scientists working on new drugs and treatments, and the doctors and the social workers who help people with schizophrenia try to lead the best lives possible. And about during that period, the president of St. Clair College kept asking me if I was interested in coming over to the college, because he felt that the journalism program really needed to get a reboot. And so in the end, I said I was only interested if I could just blow it up and start over. And I was being a bit flippant at the time because I didn't really have any intentions of going over there. And but anyway, in the end, I decided that I really needed a break from the intensity of day-to-day news. And that's sort of 6 months working on that series had also sort of worn me down a bit. And because I change all the time, and because teaching was on my list, eventually I was convinced to go over to the college.
Okay, so follow-up question. What is flippin? Is that Newfie slang?
Oh no, it's just being flippant. Saying it but not really meaning it. Just saying, oh yeah, I'll come over if I can blow it up and start it over again. And so in a way, I wasn't really meaning it. I meant it, that program needed to be blown up, but I didn't mean it that I'd come over.
So what is your favorite part about being program coordinator?
There are a number of aspects, but the involvement with the students is something, no matter how difficult things are going on the administrative side, no matter how things are going in the world, in my world, when I walk into that classroom, nothing else exists. The only thing is those moments when I'm there with the students. And it has really kept me in the job, the longest I've ever been in a job. And it hasn't felt like that. I mean, I was really fortunate that I was able to work with a great team and build the journalism program, the media convergence program, and the PR program, which I also coordinated for many years. And then to be able to build the Mediaplex. So all of those things were really great, but I'm really not being flippant when I say that the best part of it all was being able to be there and have that tremendous relationship with the students and to see them grow and learn. And because of the atmosphere that we created in the Mediaplex, you come in as part of a family. I think that our students grow on many levels, not just acquiring skills that allow them to be successful in their careers, but I think, we hope, and I think that what we give them personally, and the commitment that we make to them personally, I think that is as important, if not more important, than the skills we give them, because I think it really helps them grow as humans. And, it's graduation is always so bittersweet, because you hate to see them go out of your immediate life. And of course, most of them don't go out of our lives because they keep in touch and we help them find jobs. And we sort of send happy birthday messages to them on Facebook. And so they stay in touch that way, which kind of shows us that what we are doing at the Mediaplex really does have an impact. So that's a long answer to say that students are the most important part of it. Otherwise, why do it?
Well, yeah, that's the long answer. Well, we've reached the AM hours. So in addition to, coordinating journalism and journalism as well, you've also written books. The Pink Hat, which I believe was released back in 2012, and Getting Off a Criminal Lawyer's It's a long title.
Road to Redemption.
Road to Redemption.
Yeah.
So what inspired those books, especially the Pink Hat? Because I'd like to know more about that one.
Well, I lived in Bermuda, and mostly based on people I knew in Bermuda. And the character had met a young Air Force pilot in Bermuda, and because and he wanted to marry her, but because she didn't want to settle down, because she wanted to travel the world and do all kinds of things, she refused. But she always wore this iconic pink hat. And the last time they met was in a cafe. And when she got up and left him, she left her hat in the cafe, sitting on a chair. And he took that hat, and he looked for her for many, many years, wherever his Air Force jobs took him, and he never found her. And eventually his life went on. He got married and had a daughter, and his wife died. And one day he had kept that pink hat hidden in a trunk his entire life. And he'd had a quite a catastrophic heart attack. And he asked his daughter if she would find the girl who owned the hat. And then the daughter and her husband set out on that quest to find the girl.
Did they find
So you
her?
have to read it to find out the rest of it.
Well, if it's available on audio.
I haven't put it on audio yet.
Let me know when you do.
I will.
There's a series of books on audios that I want to listen to.
Yeah.
So, do you have a place in your house where you go and write, or just like a quiet space, or where do you do it?
I do. What you're seeing behind me is we have 4 bedrooms in the house, and we have a guest room in our room, and then my husband and I took a bedroom each and made into our offices, because both being writers, we really needed a space. And so I really like this space. I've got lots of windows, and so it's really quite nice, and all I can see are trees. So it's calming.
All right. Well, you have a talk show in addition to everything else you've talked about and everything else you do on your TV Windsor, called Scribes and Songsters. So can you just give us a brief kind of how that came to be, how you teamed up?
Well, a friend of mine, Brian Sweet, had wanted to put a television show like that together. And I had, for a long time, I had a television show on Kojiko a few years before, and it was called Mandal's Media Mix. And so I would talk to other reporters about the news going on in the town, and in the city of Windsor and Essex County. And then I got really busy, and so I think it went for 4 or 5 years. And then when Brian approached me, I was so thrilled, because being a writer, one of the things that is always difficult for writers who live in smaller communities to get noticed, to get what you do out to the reading public. And I always thought that it would be really great to have a show where I interviewed those talented people and allowed others to hear about their work and to go out and buy and read their work. And so when Brian talked to me about this, I said, yes, absolutely. I don't care how busy I am. I think this would be so worthwhile. And it has been. We've been so lucky to showcase some of the most talented people in Windsor and Essex County. And Nino Ricci was my first guest. And of course, he's one of our best known writers, and because he's from Leamington, he came on as my first guest, and it really set the stage for us to be able to showcase a lot of very talented people, and people who write books and plays and poetry and music, scripts of all description. So it's a very sort of eclectic writing show.
Yeah, I have a million things I've written that sit on a USB that I don't know what to do with.
Well, you got to pull them out.
I suppose. Alrighty, so finally, on this show, I do a segment called 3 Questions With, where I'll ask you 3 questions. You can only pass on one, so be careful.
Okay.
So after a long day, what do you do to unwind? Like, how do you relax?
Sit and chat with my husband with a glass of wine.
That is a very good answer. So I believe you and I have talked country music before. Is there somebody who you a current artist that you prefer? Or like, who's your favorite artist in that world?
I really like Blake Shelton.
Yes, very good. Very, very good. So as we mentioned, you have had many jobs. Who did you like working with the least?
There was one person now, and it wasn't bad, but there was one person at the CBC. We shall be nameless.
Oh, thought we were getting so close.
I'm like, yeah, well, I'm passing on that bit.
Vero spills all. But thank you for being here. It really means a lot that you were my guest this evening.
Thank you. I'm doing, and as I've said, I'm always here for the students.
Thank you, Veronique, for being here. We'll be right back with more Remotely Zach right after this. Check out Your TV Windsor for Scribes and Songsters.